Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I'm going to read a viewer letter today from a guy that I'm really seriously surprised is alive. He had a tractor accident, and it's something that if you grew up on a farm or you've used farm equipment very much, you've had happen to you. I've had happen to me, and he sounds like a seasoned operator, and his letter is a little difficult to read because spell check got him several times, but I'm going to try to piece together a situation that happened. So you understand it's out there, and you understand how to not have this happen to you. And again, I'm just shocked this guy is alive. Letter is from Tommy, and Tommy said, earlier this year I was using my side rotary, it says cover, but I think he's talking about a side rotary cutter. And this could be several things, but I think it's a hay cutter. And if you have a disc mower conditioner, that offsets to the side of the tractor, and that's what I think it is because he talks about a canvas later on. But he says anyway, he was using his side rotary cutter. It threw a rock. It hit me in the back of the head, knocked me out cold. I went off the opposite side of the tractor, thank God, of the mower, but the back wheel ran over my leg. Now I'm trying to piece together what happened. Thrown objects is a huge problem with tractors, but let's say, and this is what I think happened, he's running a disc mower through the field, and those blades are running, I mean, you're running almost wide open. And anything you hit, you have a chance of throwing that. And there's on a disc mower that you mow hay with, there's a canvas in front of it. Now this could just as well be a brush hog in back of the tractor, or a batwing or whatever, anything that spins like that. You hit a rock just right and it's going to throw it, and it could throw it anywhere. It could throw it out back of you, it could throw it toward the operator. I've been hit in the back of the leg, and I don't know how it got through there with a rock from a bush hog. I was out bush hogging, and my dad raised me, and I hated he did this. I found out later and I didn't do it. He used to mow really low. He'd like to kind of plow with his bush hog. And I never did that. I would raise it. I did when he was telling me I had to do it, but when I found out you could raise it up a little bit and not hit those rocks, that's what I did. If you're hitting a lot of rocks, raise your cutter up a little bit, about 4 inches. It's better for the grass. It still destroys all the vegetation, but it's a lot less likely to throw rocks at you if you're mowing it for 4 inches or so. When I cut my pasture, I never hit rocks, and they're out there. But I'm mowing high enough, I just go over the top of them. But if you're cutting with a disc mower, you're going to want to mow as low as you can so you get all the crop. So that's probably what's going on right here. So anyway, he hits this rock, it throws it hits him, and knocks him out, and he goes off the other side of the tractor. Now, how he cleared the wheel, and he didn't completely clear it, because I guess did I read that? It ran over him, knocked me out cold, went off the opposite side of the mower, but the back wheel ran over my leg. I'm just, man, I can't imagine getting run over by a tractor big enough to pull a disc mower. You got to have a pretty good sized tractor to do that. So it's bad. It's run over him, but he's still alive. Okay, so he got 28 stitches. 28 stitches. That's bad, but nothing major bad happened to his leg. Man, luckily, yeah, I'd say luckily. And if my mower wouldn't have had that canvas cover to slow the rock down a bit, it could have possibly killed me, probably would. So picture this, these heavy canvases that these disc mowers have. This thing shot a rock through that, probably lifted the canvas up, and it still had enough velocity to hit him and knock him out. Of course, getting hit in the head with a rock will knock you out pretty easy. Now, I'll tell you another story. When I was a kid growing up on the farm, my dad, who was kind of a safety nightmare sometimes. You had to watch yourself around Dad. He was mowing a ditch, and it was probably, I would say, 30 yards away from me at least, maybe 40. And he was mowing down low, and he hit a rock, and I mean a rock the size of a dog's head went buzzing by my head. I was out mowing with a push mower in the yard, and that thing came flying across the field and landed in a barn lot. And I was like, I'm going in. I don't want to be near this thing. And that made me a believer. But if you grew up on a farm, you've probably had a time or two where you've chucked a rock out of a bush hog or a disc mower or some mowing piece of machinery and hit you. So anyway, if I'd have been 3 feet further forward, I think I would have died. So it's a danger. So anyway, finish Tommy's story. His tractor went for about an acre till it got in the woods and it stalled. Probably hit a tree in the woods, and the tree didn't move and the wheels were starting to spin and it just died. Then he had a good long walk back up to the house and almost passed out a few times. Oh man, I can't even imagine. He said, man, it was rough. I lost a lot of blood. So much they were giving me blood while fixing me up. No clue where the rock came from. He's mowed that spot dozens and dozens of times. It must have popped up enough over time for the mower to catch it. And if you're in a rocky area, and I'm telling you, I'm in a rocky area. This is a rock that I found just when I was getting ready to do the video. He's laying out in the field here, and it's a typical bush hogged over, ground up rock that you see in the Missouri Ozarks. The glacial till was not kind to us, and if you see, it's been cut up. It wasn't rectangular when it was before, but it's been hit so many times by a cutter of some kind that it's now rectangular. And I'm sure this has been thrown out some way or another, but just laying over here, and there's another one. So I mean, it's common in the area I'm in. If you're in an area with good soil, you may not have that, but where Tommy is and where I am, that's a problem. And a rock that size is just the perfect size for a cutter to kick out at you. So anyway, he made it to the hospital. These rocks, my point there was, you can pick up all the rocks in a field and a year later come back and they've worked their way to the top, and I don't know what caused it, just the freezing and thawing of the soil, I'm sure, pops them out of the ground, and then you hit them if you're mowing really low. So anyway, the point here is Tommy survived. He said, now I'm paranoid every time I mow, LOL. Yeah, I would be too. He bought another canvas cover and left the old one on and just stuck the new one on top of the old one. So he's got 2 covers there to protect him, which is great. It was a pretty old cover, so possibly if it had been in good shape, he'd have been okay. And now he's going to watch the canvas cover a lot closer, and if it gets worn, replace it. Well, Tommy, I am so glad that you survived this. I'm picturing in my mind a couple of problems that could have prevented this. Going off of the tractor, if I just don't know how you got off of it so you went further off than the wheel, because you must have gone off far enough it didn't run over your body. If it had run over your body, and especially you're kind of cramped up, that wouldn't have been good. If you'd have gone off the other side and the disc mower runs over you, guys, I hate to say, there's been people that have had this happen, and the family finds you cut up in the field, and it's not pretty. It's never pretty in a farming accident, but I'm glad you survived. A couple of things. Seat belts. I always wear my seat belt when I'm on the tractor because of that. If you go under a limb or you bend a limb down and it hits you in the head, or you kick a rock out of a bush hog, that can knock you out. And if you get your seat belt on, you'll be on that tractor till it hits a tree or something and kills it. I'd rather take my chances that way. Now, if you hit a limb just right, it might impale you, but I'll take my chances on the tractor seat versus going off. And the other thing is, a lot of you guys like to wire around your safety devices. If you've got an operator presence device in the seat, that could be a lifesaver. But the problem I have with that, I'm not sure the tractor would stop. If you were mowing down a hill and you came off the seat and it killed the tractor, would the engine stop it quick enough not to run over you? I think it would, but I don't know. And then the other thing, the last thing, as Tommy said, safety devices. If you've got flaps on your cutter, rotary cutter or chains, make sure they're all functional to try to slow those rocks down. But even with those safety devices, I mean, when you think of how fast those blades are turning and you catch a rock just right, it's going to come out of there and it's going to go somewhere. And finally, don't ever bush hog with your family or friends or other people near you. If I'm brush hogging up close to the road here and a car comes by, I stop, because I don't want to risk throwing a rock and the liability or the safety hazard of that at a car. So if I'm mowing next to the road, I'm watching for traffic, and if I see cars coming, I'll stop. But Get that seat belt on, Tommy. That's the way to protect you. That's the best way to protect you in an accident like that. So I want you all to stay careful and be safe. And if you have an experience with a farm implement where a rock came at you, put it in the comments down below. Let other people know how common this is, so they'll have a respect for that, and they'll do everything they can to keep this same situation from occurring with them. Appreciate you watching my videos. I'd be honored if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking the mic face icon and checking the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with cool items for sale for the tractor owner. It helps support my channel. And here's another video you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.